Assalomu alaykum. O'zbekistonga xush kelibsiz. Suhbatimizni boshida aytib o'tganingizdek, ilk tashrifingiz O'zbekistonga 1986-yilda bo'libdi. Ya'ni shu davrdan to hozirgi davrga qadar 30 yildan ko'proq muddat o'tibdi. Va shu oraliqda O'zbekistonni nima bilan qiyoslagan bo'lardingiz? Qaysi tarafga o'zgarmoqda O'zbekiston?
Yeah, 36 years passed since my last visit to Uzbekistan, and actually it was a special visit. The first visit was a special visit for me because it was my first trip together with my wife. So our first trip to Uzbekistan was our first trip together, and it was memorable not only because of this, but in Hungary, due to the works of Armin van Beri, Uzbekistan and the region that belongs to Uzbekistan today is well known. So I was brought up reading van Beri's works, and I always wanted to come here, to see this land, to see the famous cities of Bukhara and Samarkand. Just wait, and when we arrived, it was the Soviet period, and we were shocked. We were shocked because all the monuments were in ruins. Tiles were falling down, and all the old buildings were neglected. They were neglected because they were not Russian, and they were Islamic and Uzbek. And compared to that period, the state these buildings are now is amazing. So Uzbekistan has changed a lot, thank God, and thanks to the presidents. You can see not only modernization, because most people see only that. But since I'm a Turkologist, and I keep an eye on the tangible and intangible heritage of Uzbekistan, I see that a lot of things are happening to preserve this very rich and very valuable heritage.
Suhbatingiz jarayonida Armin van Berini qilgan sayohatini takrorlab o'tdingiz. You talked about the travel of Armin van Beri. So you want to make like this trip or just see Uzbekistan?
Imitating Van Beri is impossible. Shall I say shorter sentences?
Yeah.
No. It's okay. So imitating Van Beri is impossible.
Why?
First of all, because the circumstances we are traveling in has changed. I mean, compared to the times of Van Beri. See, Van Beri had to walk. He walked from Tehran to Khiva, and then on to Bukhara and Samarkand, and the way back through Herat to Tehran again. Now we sit on a plane, and in how many hours? 2 hours to Istanbul, and from Istanbul 4 hours to Samarkand. So we are here in half a day. So that's why we cannot imitate or copy Van Beri's journey. That's one thing. The other thing is that Van Beri visited these beautiful cities in 1863. And since then, more than 150 years has passed. And a lot of knowledge has been gathered about this region, about Uzbekistan, about the rich cultural heritage of Uzbekistan, about Chagatai or Old Uzbek literature. A lot of manuscripts have been discovered and published. So we cannot copy Van Beri's journey because we have more knowledge, we have more information on Uzbekistan and its cultural heritage. So in a way, we are in a much better position than Van Beri was in his times. See, and so Van Beri when he started, he came into the unknown. But before I start my journey to Uzbekistan, I write a message to my friends in Tashkent, and they can immediately tell me what the weather looks like, whether it's hot, whether it's cold, what should I pack into my baggage. So the circumstances has changed, and Vamberi's journey cannot be imitated because of all these changed circumstances. And there's one more thing.
Yeah, please.
When Vamberi visited these cities and visited the Khanates, the Khivan Khanates and the Bukharan Emirate, a spy war was going on in the region. It was called the Great Game. And it was, Russia and England or Great Britain competed for the influence over Central Asia. And in 1842, two British officers came to the Emirate of Bukhara, and they were executed here. So what I want to say is, for a European, it was not without dangers to visit the Khanates, not only because of the political situation, but because Vamberi was very much afraid of the Turkmen robbers. Because Turkmen robbers attacked caravans, they robbed people, they sold them as slaves at various markets. So it was very dangerous. Nowadays, Uzbekistan is safe. Safe for travelers, safe for scholars, safe for tourists.
Bugungi mavzuyingiz bo'yicha, ya'ni Vengriya turkshunosligi va O'zbekiston madaniy merosining kashf etilishi. Ya'ni qaysi tarafdan madaniy merosni kashf etmoqdamiz?
Libraries around the world are full of manuscripts produced in various cities of the region that now belongs to Uzbekistan. And these manuscripts are either in Persian or in Old Uzbek or Chagatai. I'm interested more in Old Uzbek and Chagatai. And there are a lot of works that are not published. So manuscripts should be researched. Unpublished manuscripts should be published. I tell you an example. In the library of the Hungarian Academy of Sciences, there's a unique manuscript. It exists only in one copy in the world. The title of this work is Gulu Navruz. But it's not the well-known work written by not Lutfi, but Haydar Khwarazmi. But it's an unknown work written by an unknown person. Unknown. So we don't know who the poet was. And this manuscript is important not only because it's unknown, and it's important not only because it's part of the cultural heritage of Uzbekistan, but it's important because it creates the opportunity for cooperation between Uzbekistani and Hungarian scholars. Actually, I'm planning to work on these manuscripts and publish this manuscript together with Professor Rixitilla Ali Muhammadov, who works at the Tashkent State University of Oriental Studies. There's one direction, discovering unpublished manuscripts in Chagatai or in Old Uzbek and publish them. The other direction, which is, I think, a personal mission for me, is to make Mir Alishir Navai's works known in the Western world. Okay. Because in Europe or in the United States, if you say Hafiz, everyone knows, or most people know who Hafiz was. Like Rumi, like Attar, like Omar Khayyam. But if you say Navai, only a few people know about him. And I think what Navai did was a greater thing than what Hafiz produced. This is my personal view. Nevai was a genius. And it was his personal mission to create classical texts in Turkish or in Uzbek. Yeah. One of the first steps, we should translate Nevai's works into English, because English is the largest language spoken by many people in the world. And this way we can make his works known. Actually, with Professor Aftandil Erkinov, we started such a joint project. We are working on the publication of Mahbubul Kulub. I have already translated 1/3 of the work into English, and we are working on it continuously. In addition to this, so we are planning a volume which would contain the English translation and one of the manuscripts preserved in the Hungarian, in the library of the Hungarian Academy of Sciences.